Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me. Run through the land.
This is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest. Today we are really pleased to have two of Upton's very special people. Everybody's special, but these two people, wait till you learn more about them. We have Tom Bair, and he's the secretary of the Upton Historical Society, and Barbara Burke, who is our curator at the Upton Historical Society. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glenn Fowler, my co-producer, evidently went in to the museum we have here in town and took some good footage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that will be playing along too, so you get to see that and get to picture what we're talking about. First of all, we need to tell people where this is, where you're located. Who wants to tell us where, if they're looking for it?
Okay, well, if you go to the library, go up the stairs to the second floor, and we're up on the second floor. And we're open on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings till about noontime.
And no registration needed.
No, just walk in.
Just come on in.
View the museum. We have a museum there of Upton history. Just browse the museum, or if you have interest in any particular historical aspect of families or properties or buildings or anything like that, we'll be happy to try to find some information for you.
I had never seen it until, I hadn't been in there, my gosh, 4 or 5 years ago. I know I did a memoir thing for Russ Wood. And I remember working with him, and then we would go in there and we would meet. And I began looking at all the different things. And I said, I had no idea that this was here. I think a lot of people, especially people who are new to Upton moving in, have no idea the jewel in the crown we have upstairs over the library. There's, Barbara, how long have you been actually with the society?
Well, the original society started in 1890.
Well, you definitely weren't there
She
then.
wasn't a charter member.
But my mother could have been.
Your mom. Are you serious? In the 1800s?
I am serious. Yeah.
Wow.
And my grandmother was, we lived at 2 Pleasant Street at the time. And my grandmother was in her 70s when I was born, but insisted on walking downtown, as we called it, to go to the library, to go to church, and to do her grocery shopping.
Was the library this at that time, or was this a church?
No, the library at that time was in the town hall.
We're talking, for those of you not in the area, out of town, out of state, we're broadcasting from Upton, Massachusetts. It's a small town in central Mass, not far from Worcester. So it's where the town hall was, the library.
Yes, yes. Where the selectmen offices are now was all one unit, and the librarian had her desk behind a service counter. And you came in and left your books, and she was, the librarian I had was Helen Fay.
Helen Fay.
And though she was a maiden lady, she loved children,
She was good, and she was.
as did my children love her.
I remember you telling me, I had met up specially with Barbara recently, and you were telling me about, Barbara has a special love for children. I know you do. You're great at that. Was she related to the man who there's a dedicated room down the hall, John Fay? Was that her husband?
That
No?
was her father. He was the original town.
Yeah.
He started, he was a selectman, many offices in town, but his love of books.
Was it? Yeah.
And then Mr. Milton decided the only thing his town didn't have was a library.
Yeah.
So he donated so many books.
Yeah.
His biggest disappointment was it was in Upton Center, not
Why?
in West
Why?
Upton. Because Mr. Knowlton always hoped that with all of the business he brought to town, that West Upton would become the center of his universe.
Oh. Oh, I didn't. So what year did you come on
Yeah.
board? Do you remember the exact year you came on board the society?
My mother said to me, I was actually early married at the time, and she said, I want you to join
Yeah.
the Historical Society.
How old were you?
Oh, I was in my 30s at that
Oh, okay.
time.
Yeah.
And I said, Historical Society?
What?
Who on earth?
Yeah.
What do they do?
Yeah.
And she said, well, they're preserving all of the records of Upton.
Yeah.
And I said,
I think I might have had the same reaction.
And of course, if you knew my mother, I do take after her. She was very strong. So she submitted my name and I became
And that was it.
a member.
Now, Tom, when did you come on board to the society? As treasurer, always the treasurer?
No, I started like 24 years ago.
Yeah.
I just saw a notice in the newspaper about a meeting and thought, well, that might be interesting.
Yeah.
So I came, and at that time, they were holding the meetings in what is now our museum across the hall, and, kind of took an interest in it. And shortly after that, the society was releasing one of the books, The Pictorial History, and so my wife and I got invited to come support that. It was a book signing event in the town hall.
Oh, okay.
So we got a little more involved, and then at a meeting,
Was this Barbara's book?
No.
No, okay.
no, this
I
was much
worked
earlier.
on it,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
All right.
was
So
not
then,
around.
not too long after that, there was a meeting at the old stone farm at the end of Grove Street, and Chet Inman came up to me and said, "We need a new treasurer. Would you do that for us?" And I thought, write a few checks, pay a few bills.
Yeah.
So I took the treasurer's job for like 11 years or something like that.
Have you enjoyed it?
Yes.
You
yes,
really have?
Yeah. Oh,
Right. Are you from Upton originally?
No.
Where were you from?
I was born in western Pennsylvania. Yeah.
How did you get over here to Massachusetts? What brought you?
Well, I got a degree in college and came to work at an electronics business up here in New England.
Oh,
So,
that's really great. Now, Barbara, you were born and raised in this town.
Yes.
You were born and raised.
Well, I was born in Milford Hospital, as mother kept reminding me. And some of the older Uptonians said, you're not a native in the first place. Your parents weren't born here.
What?
They just came.
Then that makes me, I don't know what, because I mean, I lived in Whitensville for umpteenth years, and then we moved over to Upton after Worcester, and see, I came on board here in 2008. What makes you an official person?
Well, I
Willingness.
argued that point for years.
Yeah.
Especially with people who chose to come
Yeah.
and live in Upton.
Yeah.
And I feel being born here doesn't make you special. You're stuck with it. And my one desire was, when I met my husband, was to relocate anywhere in the world,
But Upton.
but not Upton. And then my mother surprised me, and in 1964 said, here's the key to your new house.
Where did you get lucky?
Yeah.
I mean, really lucky. My parents, I had to buy, they made me buy one of their cars. I didn't get it for free.
I didn't either. All she did was make the down payment.
And that was it.
That was my Christmas present for the year. And my husband fell in love with the house.
You liked the same one you're in
because-
now, right? The same one?
Yeah. I've been there 65 years.
So I would say that's home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's home. But
Diabetic, 65 years. This is my year of coming of age.
you're coming right now. Are you going to have a debutante ball? Are you going to have a ball gown? You should have
I've been thinking of it.
Why not?
Surviving 65 years without any complication is quite a...
You're a lucky
effort.
lady. You're
No, I worked
No?
at it.
Yeah, I know. Tom, you've lived here how many years now in Upton?
Probably like 26.
26 years.
Yeah, but my wife, Dottie, her maiden name was Page in the Page family.
Oh, yeah, Page Lumber.
Page
Yes.
Lumber was her brother, Bob, and so she.
How did you meet each other? If you were in Pennsylvania and she was here.
Well, I was living here then,
Yeah.
and I had been married before, but was single at that time, and I met her at a singles dance.
Very cool. Now, tell us briefly, I mean, there's so many things in the museum here about Upton to see. What are some of the things that are your favorite things, Barbara, in the museum? What do you like especially?
Well, as I said in that tape, everything in the museum has been given to us. And there is one special book that we did buy. And that, when you open it, it has a wooden cover. The dimensions are about...
Must
Big.
be 16 by 18 inches.
Where'd you get that? Somebody donated it? No?
No, we ended up purchasing it, but because that was against our bylaw, after I got the vote to purchase it, because it deals with all of the Upton veterans,
Civil War.
Civil War,
veterans.
All the way back.
Civil War.
Wow.
And it's handwritten, most of what they did, where they served. And I guess it was quite common
Yeah.
in towns to have this kind of a record. But other towns didn't feel it was
Yeah.
that important. When town halls have more departments
Sure.
and so forth, you start throwing things out.
So you actually purchased the book, you got it,
Yes.
and then you began putting pictures together? Was that it?
No.
No.
The pictures
Were
were
there?
in there.
They were the, oh, so where did you purchase the book from? Who had it?
A person in Worcester had bought a household and found it, and he called and said, we have this book, we don't know if you're interested in it or not, but it has the names of everyone from Upton who served in the Civil War.
What was
And
it doing in Worcester?
It
They were
was
cleaning out a house. They got a job to
An
clean out a
estate.
house, and they came across it, and the owner of the house said you could have everything in there.
I wonder who was the original owner of the book.
Well, it was GAR,
Gee, what's
the
that?
Grand Army of the Republic, which was an organization of Civil War veterans.
Yeah.
And they had a hall in a building that was just past where the former Holy Angels Church was. There was a
Yeah.
building there,
Yeah.
and that was the GAR Hall. And so all the Civil War veterans, that was their organization. And this book was their book. They
Just
had all
there.
the people recording it, but when the organization dissolved, the book kind of floated off into somebody's home and then ended up in this man's possession, and he was going to auction it.
Yeah.
So,
And he just gave it to you.
well,
No.
no.
No,
We
you had to buy it, yeah.
We went to the society and got special permission from the members to spend the money in this case.
Yeah. Was it very, very expensive?
It was hundreds of dollars.
It was $600.
Well
He
worth it
was
though, right?
asking $1,000.
Yeah.
But when we told him how important it was to the town, the saddest thing is we did happen to visit the original owner in the nursing home, and she told me, oh, if I'd known you were interested, I would have given it to you.
Oh my God.
But members from town and in the society did donate the $600.
So people can come to our Upton Historical Museum.
Yes.
And they can see this book.
Yes.
But there are other things. Even if you come upstairs into our hallway, you'll see the most adorable shoes. What, from the 1800s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gordon, where did people keep these to donate them to you? That's amazing.
And they find them in the attic, they find them in the barn.
That's a lot. Now, also, they have hats. I know there's
Oh, yeah.
cute hats. People have kept them through the years and decided to donate them.
Yes.
Yes.
They go way back, right, Barbara?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the outfits, some of the, what are some of the other things? Tom, what are some of your favorite things in there?
Well, there's a lot of interesting, things from the police and the fire, and there's things about sports. School books. We have some really 1800 school books,
Yeah.
from elementary schools and so forth. But the photograph collection, there's over 8,000 photographs in our collection.
8,000.
And they've all been indexed, they've been scanned, and there's just wonderful photographs from the 1800s and so forth.
Who did all
of
that
events
work?
in town.
Who does all that work of the scanning and putting
Well,
it together?
Bill Young was a member is a member of the society, and he came in, it's been quite a few years ago now, and said, oh, that's something that I think I'd like to do. He went out and purchased a computer, and we already had a scanner, so he set it up, and he just kept coming in twice a week, scanning pictures, scanning pictures, scanning pictures. He must have spent a year doing it.
That's a long.
Yeah, that's a lot of photographs, but now it's all digitized.
Yeah.
We can put those, you'll see them, copies of them on our newsletters and the website. If you go to our website, which is on rootsweb.com, you can see the Society's website there. So that's a great resource. But I think a lot of the people that come to the Society, there's two things they want to do. They like to look at the museum just in general. But the second thing, the people that come in or call in are interested in family histories, interested in the history of their house or a house they want to buy or their property, those types of things, or an article that they maybe have found they're interested in. So a lot of it is research. And I did a little calculation the other day. If you took all of the documents and the journals and the photograph albums and you put them all on one shelf, it would be 340 feet long.
Oh my
That's
God.
how many records we have. And some of the ones that I showed during the museum tour, they date back to the 1700s, some of them. Some of these documents and journals are ancient, or like a store ledger.
Sure.
We'd have a store ledger from the dry goods store, Hall's dry goods store, and it would show all of his customers, and it was like a credit card system. They would go in there and take things on credit, and he would just write it under their name,
Yeah.
and they would come back once a month, and they would pay what they
What they owe.
took, what they owed for that month, and then he would record it. It was kind of the credit system even back then. So these are the kind of things, and it's just terribly interesting to spend time looking through it.
We're talking with Tom Bair and Barbara Burke, who are very important in our Upton Historical Society. I hear that you've had children tours in there. The school?
Yes.
That must be
Yeah.
fun. But how do you get the kids not to make love to everything they see? Because I was like that. My mother had to get one of those leashes. She'd take me shopping. I'm like, ooh, ooh. How do you control? The teachers have to watch them, right?
The teachers, and they always bring with them volunteer parents.
Yeah.
And each parent is generally assigned 8 children,
Oh.
depending on the grade.
Yeah.
it's the third grade, I think each parent has 3 or 4 children.
Yeah.
Because they're eager to learn, and of course we have 2 display cases
Yeah.
of toys and dolls, old-fashioned dolls, which they generally laugh
Oh, I bet
at.
I would have flipped out as a little girl seeing that. I love it
Yeah.
now. I love it. I don't know, do they have any stuffed animals from back then? You know, little stuffed,
We have some dolls,
yeah, okay.
some
the
dolls, I don't know
We
what
do have a teddy bear,
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's not on display because they do attract moths.
Oh, what if you put him in a plastic? No.
You gotta be careful of plastic,
You
but
gotta- How can somebody reach you if they're anxious to learn more about coming to the museum?
our phone number is 508-529-6600. And as I mentioned before, our hours are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings. So you can call, and if you've got a special project you want to do and you can't make it at those times, give us a call and maybe somebody can come in and arrange that open at other times.
It's
Yeah.
very handy here in Upton, if you know where the library is, across from the town hall. You go upstairs to the second floor. Actually, that's where our television studio is. And it's right across, but you'll see it long before you see us. And it's right there. There's the door, there's the hours. And you walk in, and it's a bigger room than you would expect. When I first saw it, I was like, I thought it would be, very small, that type of thing. I noticed, especially in the neighborhood I'm in, I'm near Nelson and School Street and all that, there are some homes there with the names. I think one had the last name Lewis, somebody, in the 1800s and the 1700s.
Yes.
As I take my walks, I see all these,
Mhm.
and they're still kept up.
Yeah. The society, for many years, provided those signs, and then we had a problem finding someone that would make them. But we've since got a new source, and in fact, we were discussing this morning, making up a sign for a house up on, East Street, that, because the older ones would deteriorate or they'd
Sure.
get lost, and so
Right.
somebody's asked for a replacement.
Now this house beside us, the gray one that has the big X, which I thought it meant they were going to demolition it, but that means there's just nobody in there.
Yeah.
What was it that was so important years ago about that house that they have to keep it up? What?
It was the telephone building. On one side was the telephone office,
Okay.
and on the other side was an apartment where people lived.
Yeah. It was a residential, people lived there, but they had the telephone office in the front.
Were they the ones who ran the telephone office?
No?
Now, how long was it, the telephone office?
Oh, dear, from the beginning of telephone up
Through
to...
the Second World War.
Yeah,
So it was
After
it was like the
45.
ring me up thing and all ever since then, and
Yeah.
then party lines, and
Yeah.
it went up to.
oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. I mean, no. That's the okay. I always wondered what the historical part of that was. I had forgotten. I think you have it in your book. I
Yes.
totally forgot.
Porter, maybe.
Now we have the Holy Angels Church. Now there's some history for us. Up the Holy Angels up the
Yes.
now they're working on that.
Well, we were talking earlier about how the Knowltons really wanted the center of the
Yeah.
town over there.
Right.
Well, what the former Holy Angels Church started out as the Unitarian Church.
I heard. Yeah. Right.
Yes.
It was the original Unitarian Church. But
Yeah.
again, the Knowltons living in West Upton didn't want to travel all the way down here to go to church. So they built the church in West Upton, which
Yeah.
is now the art gallery.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, Unitarians, we would like you to move here. We'll give you this church. And they put the pressure on. A lot of them weren't happy about it, I guess, but the Unitarians moved to West Upton.
That's a big religious change to go from a Catholic church, right,
From
to
a Unitarian
Unitarian
Catholic.
church to a Catholic church.
Yeah.
The mega distance in the. So
Yeah.
didn't we have a Baptist church or another Methodist church here in town at one time?
This is the
Yes.
Methodist Church.
This
You're
was
in
the
it.
Methodist one.
Yes.
Okay, but the one across the way, the parish.
Parish.
United Parish.
That was always Congo?
That was
Congregational.
congregational.
Okay, that was always Congo. We've got about 4 minutes left. Again, helping people reach you about coming to visit the museum.
Oh, yeah, just remember the phone number, 508-529-6600. And I wanted to get one more plug in here.
Sure.
Is the Historical Society is the organizer, promoter, and runs the Heritage Day celebration, which is coming up on September 30th. So put that date on your calendar.
It's right out here.
We'll have a lot of things going here, and it's not just the society, but the fire department, the police department all participate, the VFW, the Grange, a lot of organizations in town. So we'll have vendors, we'll have displays and activities on September 30th.
My favorite is the vendors, going to the town common and seeing the different, like arts and crafts
Yes.
and things like that.
Yeah.
I think I've had a few on as guests during the years over there, and it's a lot of fun, even rain or shine, right? It's kind
Right.
of fun to go over
Right.
there. So keep that date in mind, September
30th.
30th. What time?
Well, it starts about 9 or 9:30 in the morning.
And also right here at the library, Matt
Right.
Times and
Yes.
they
He has a book
trying to keep
sale.
me from that, the book fair.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have
that's it.
books piled at home like this.
Yes.
Thank you both, Tom and Barbara, for being on the show. We're going to get you back on again because these people are a wealth of knowledge about the town of Upton, Mass. Again, if you're watching from out of state, out of the country, this is a pretty special little New England town. It's got a flavor all of its own, very definitely.
Yeah.
Very, very definitely. Thanks again.
Thank you,
You're
Jim.
welcome.
We'll see you next
Thank
time. I'll
you.
be my guest.